This is Brent of the Brookbush Institute, and in this video we're going over self-administered static release for the rhomboids, a muscle that has a propensity to get overactive in those with upper body dysfunction, specifically those that are exhibiting signs of excessive downward rotation of the scapula. I'm going to have my friend Melissa come out. She's going to help me demonstrate this technique. Now, just a little bit about the anatomy of the rhomboids. They originate from C6 and C7 in the ligamentum nuchae all the way down to T5. And then insert into the vertebral border of the scapula. Now, I think a lot of individuals have tried to massage this area out by leaning back over a foam roll. But because of the way that your rhomboids are deep to your trapezius muscles and where on that vertebral border they insert, the rhomboid trigger points, which tend to build up here, right along that vertebral border, are almost blocked by a foam roll. Now, the technique I'm about to show you, I think a lot of individuals have instinctually tried on their own, which is we're going to use a ball, and you guys can use all sorts of different balls. We have training softballs here called softies, and I love this trigger point massage ball. This is the 4-inch diameter one, I believe, and then of course my new favorite gadget here, which is the Hypersphere from Hyperice, and I'll explain why that's so special in a second. But we're going to use this ball to go ahead and compress right up against the vertebral border and the wall, just like so. How does that feel? Okay. Okay? Well, good. Now we need to search for the most tender spot along that medial border of your scapula. So you're going to kind of move around a little bit. Oh, and found it. Okay, so we do have to be kind of careful. As people move around, they tend to get in really bad postures. So I need Melissa to kind of let this slide down a little bit so that she can then get into a quarter squat position, have good posture, right? And still apply pressure. We don't want to see this. Show them that limbo position. Yes, I see way too much of this position where people are like this, and this is a great way to light somebody's low back up if they have any history of lumbar pathology. And of course, it's a little strenuous on the neck. And since there's so much active in here, I doubt you're ever going to get a release. So make sure that you've moved into a spot, moved over a spot that you want to hold and release, but that you've also adjusted your body in such a way that you can maintain good relaxed posture. Now, of course, using the ball applies compression. We can add a little stretch to this technique to up receptor activity and hopefully get autogenic inhibition. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and cross your arms. But we want to make sure when we cross the arms that we're crossing our arms so they're like tied in a knot, so that it takes no muscle activity to leave the arms crossed. We want to keep this technique passive and allow just the weight of the arms themselves to pull into protraction. So now we have compression with lengthening or stretch caused by the protraction. How does that feel?
Better.
A little bit more intense?
Yeah.
Cool. You ready for step 3?
Always.
Now, if you have a Hypersphere from Hyperice, we can stimulate Pacinian corpuscles, which are our vibratory receptors, right, by turning this puppy on, which vibrates at 28 to 40 hertz. That's very, very fast. That's enough to get a hum basically going. And I think you guys are going to see, as soon as you apply vibration with compression and potentially some stretch, that you get very significant releases very fast. It's a lot of stimulation, right? So we have compression, which is probably Golgi tendon organ and Ruffini endings. We have our stretch receptors, and of course Golgi tendon organ again leading to autogenic inhibition. And now we have our Pacinian corpuscles being stimulated, which are going to lead to further inhibition. All from this one little technique of pinning a Hyperice between your rhomboid and the wall. Now, do be careful, guys. Notice this is a padded wall. This, of course, we're on turf, so everything here is padded just in case somebody slips running around. We don't want anybody getting injured. If you were to do this on more of a normal wall like drywall or brick, it's probably not a bad idea to put a towel between, go ahead and lean back, between the ball and the wall. Otherwise, the vibration itself will leave little pop marks on the wall. How's that feel? Good. Go ahead and move down to a next spot. All right. All right. You guys might have several trigger points within the rhomboids. Think of how those fibers are oriented, right? So they're mostly transverse, but they have a little bit of a diagonal this way. Yeah, that feels pretty good, huh? That's the lowest setting.
Yay.
And you guys can have fun like singing with this vibration sense on, or doing Darth Vader impressions, which we were
I am your father.
which we were doing before. All right, guys, so I'm going to leave you on that note. This is static self-administered rhomboid release for those with upper body dysfunction on an overhead squat assessment. That would be somebody who has arms fall or shoulder girdle elevates, right? Notice that we put the arms crossed to increase some stretch, that she's pinning a ball between herself and a wall with good posture, and of course we added vibration using the hyper ice. If you have any questions, please leave your comments below in the comments box. I'll talk with you soon.